It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And, of course, this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Jaycee Carroll joining the program here as Utah State Aggies fire off against UCLA tonight. JC, thanks for being with us, man.
Hey, always excited to talk hoops, and thanks for the invite. Super fun, excited to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about this Utah State team who is kind of, I wouldn't say limping into the tournament here, but they haven't been playing their best basketball. As you've been watching them kind of have this, this evolution through the year here. Going into the NCAA tournament, it's one thing to get the invite, and a 10-7 matchup is pretty much a pick-em these days.
Yeah, it really is. And honestly, as you said, Utah State started out of the gates just flying. I mean, they got up into the top 25 of the nation. They were just killing, couldn't hardly be beat. Everything was going right, making shots at the end of games to win them. And then, to be honest, I mean, they just kind of ran into teams that had a chance to scout them, had a chance to prepare for their little their matchup zone, which is a problem when you don't see it regularly, especially the first time you see it and play against it. It is very hard to play against. The second time around, some teams figure it out a little bit better.
So UCLA is not going to have that luxury. It's going to be the first time they're facing it tonight. How much of an advantage is that for Utah State, and is that something that's really going to be key tonight?
I think it will be. I think that matchup zone, I mean, it's tricky when you're used to seeing things like 1-2-2s, 2-3s, 1-3-1s. Those are very common. The way Utah State and Coach Calhoun has put this matchup zone in and a little bit full court pressure, it causes problems. The first half, especially, I see it being a big advantage against UCLA. If the Aggies can stop like a fast break and slowly game down and allow themselves to get into this defense that they have, I think they'll have a lot of success in the first half. The second half, you make adjustments at halftime, and UCLA will be a little bit more prepared for it. And then it's just a matter of kind of a little gut check and seeing who has the players willing to step up and make plays down the stretch.
What's the thing that makes these NCAA tournaments so difficult? I mean, when you look at what these guys do to prepare for these things, and it's not just about playing against tough opponents you're not used to seeing, but it's a bigger stage than you're used to being on.
Yeah, it really is. And unless you've kind of been through it, I don't think a lot of people can understand what this stage is like. You get into a routine that you go through your conference season, and you know what time you get to the gym, you know what your pregame looks like, you know what your meals look like at the hotel. All of a sudden you get into the NCAA tournament, and you get like 45 minutes on the court to practice with a running clock. There's people watching you. You don't do anything that you normally do. Then you get there, and you have to have a special pin and special credentials to get in. Then there's the extra long timeouts and medias and fans that are for you, fans that are against you, and fans that are just there to watch basketball. So it's a mixed crowd that's just kind of different, and you're playing against players you've never played against. So NCAA tournament, unbelievable experience, very cool, but yeah, different for sure.
You had a lot of experience with that, making it to multiple tournaments. You were the star player in the peak of the Stu Morrill era. You guys had great runs then, and now you see this run with the Aggies, but with 4 different coaches. You know how difficult that must be. What's it been like for you to watch your alma mater go through this transitional period with 4 different coaches, but at the same time have so much success?
Honestly, it's a little mind-boggling to me. Like, it's mind-blowing. And I think it speaks to a little bit of this basketball community that we've been able to build up here at Utah State. And, I'm a Coach Morrill guy. I think Coach Morrill built it. I think he gave the continuity to the program. 17 years here at Utah State. 20-plus wins, probably 15 of those years or something like that. It became a basketball school, basketball community. And then, but even despite that, to watch 4 different coaches come through over the last 5 or 6 years and still have the success and still get there, it's amazing. I have a hard time explaining it. Up here in Utah, in Logan, everyone every year says, "Well, how are we gonna match what we did last year?" And then Coach Calhoun does it. Sprinkle does it. Coach Smith does it. It's like, holy cow, something is going on up here that's pretty special when it comes to basketball.
former All-American Jaycee Carroll joining us on the program here as we talk NCAA hoops. And when the pressure really comes down to it, and you say all those things change, and the arenas, the sight lines, all those kinds of things, everything it kind of adds up into being just a lot different. How is it that some players just like rise to the top and they just have these career moments, insane moments during these NCAA tournaments where it's just like, you'll have the guys that'll make 8 threes in a game and in a place that they've never been and in an arena they've never played in against an opponent they have no idea about. They just know that they go in there and they get red hot.
Yeah, I think it comes down to players that in the end, they just kind of don't care. I don't know if that makes sense. They just kind of don't care. And I kind of look at it when it comes to my freshman year at Utah State. My freshman year, I went into our conference tournament. I hate to admit this, but I was so naive. It was like I didn't realize we had to win to be in the tournament. And so I just went out. I just looked at the guy in front of me. He's like, all right, I'm better than you. I'm going to beat you. And then, but it's so naive that we won that championship, and the TV interviewed me because I was the MVP of the tournament. And he's like, hey, can you show me your best dancing moves? And I was so confused. I'm like, what? Why does this guy want me to dance? I was so confused. And I just didn't have the awareness of how big of a moment that was. And that's how my NCAA tournaments were. Now,
maybe that helped. Maybe that helped. Obviously, you're like, I don't know. I just went out and beat everybody, became the MVP of the tournament. I don't know.
And that was it. I cared so much that I just didn't care. I didn't care if I messed up, if I made a mistake. I just went out to win. Now, I had 2 or 3 championship games that I was like, oh, my gosh, I got to play so well. And I played not to lose, and I was terrible in those games. When I was able to just kind of let go and say, I don't care. Like, I care so much that I don't care. I'm going to let the ball fly. I'm going to shoot with confidence. The whole dynamic changed.
And that should be the case tonight for the Aggies. They got that NCAA tournament win last year. This is a different group. They don't have that same immense pressure. And Jared Calhoun, though, he's in his first NCAA tournament game tonight, but he's proven what he can do over this season. It looks, from what we're hearing, that they're nailing down an extension with him. You hear about a lot of NIL things that are working in the works at Utah State. A lot of great things going on around this program, but you've observed Coach Calhoun. It sounds like he's going to be here for a while, and there will be some continuity with this program moving forward. What do you like about his approach? I don't know if you've had some interactions with him. From your point of view, you know basketball in a much bit different way than we do. What has stood out to you about the way that Jared Calhoun is running this program right now?
Yeah, I do really like the guy. He's very friendly. He's very cordial. He's very bright. He kind of comes off a little bit sometimes as nonchalant or almost a little goofy. I don't mean that in a bad way, but kind of a little goofy. But the guy knows his business. He knows how to get through to players. Coach Sprinkle was here a couple of years ago, and I thought he was a great coach. He was much more of an authoritarian, kind of like Coach Morrill style. Coach Calhoun just connects to players, and he's able to get the most of them. And I think he's pretty bright when it comes to strategy and knowing how he wants to play. So him being here for another year, another 2 years, another 10 years, yeah, please. Let's figure out how to keep him here. And, maybe he needs some really good friends here in the community that he could go hang out with and shoot baskets or ride horses or something. So maybe I got to put a little bit more weight on my shoulders to sweeten the pot.
I think you got that covered.
The UCLA brand, JC, is obviously bigger than even this team who's entering this game. And Mick Cronin and his guys are, they're a decent team. They finished, I think, 6th in the Big Ten this year, and it's another year that they get to the NCAA tournament. UCLA is an 11 seed, has gone to the Final Four before. But what do you know about this UCLA team in terms about what they present as a problem for this Utah State team tonight when they tip off at 7:25?
Right. To be perfectly honest, I don't know a ton about them. I do know a little bit about Adaimata. He's a Spanish kid that was able to kind of watch from a distance as he came up through Spain. Had a rough year I don't want to say a rough year, but maybe a year where he hoped to play more last year. This year he's getting more playing time. I see size with UCLA kind of being a little bit of an issue. Utah State isn't real big. I think Mason Falslev at 6'3" is their leading rebounder, which it was a trivia question. Who was the last 6'3" basketball player to lead Utah State in rebounding? So
we know the answer.
I know the answer. I don't know if a lot of other people do. But I hope Utah State shows up and they play the man and play the team in front of them and don't really play the jersey. If you look at the jersey, you play the jersey, the John Woodens, the Ed O'Bannons, and all those things, the Tyus Edneys, I mean, it becomes overwhelming, and you could get a little starstruck and definitely not play very well.
As you look at this game tonight, what Aggie really has to stand out, lead this team? And they got multiple guys that can do it. Who's got to be the guy to help them play like they did back in December and January when they were one of the hottest teams in the country?
Yeah, look, Ian Martinez, he's been pretty consistent all the way through. He's got to keep doing what he's doing. Like, he can't shrink. He's got to have 15+. I think Mason Falslev, part of their success early on, like Mason has a consistent stat line with defense and rebounding. Those are hustle things. Those are athletic plays that he makes. The difference for their team comes a lot when Mason Falslev makes shots, gets baskets, and makes free throws. If Mason comes out and plays and is aggressive, gets to the foul line, makes shots, Utah State has a real chance. But I've also sat and watched what's his name? Akano, Dexter Akano. I did radio the game that he made 7 3-pointers against San Diego State. He needs to look to shoot. He's kind of their biggest outside threat that Utah State has. And he needs to look to shoot. He needs to look to make baskets. And if he makes baskets, Mason makes some baskets, and Ian does what he does, Utah State's got a real shot at it.
Jaycee Carroll, Utah State legend, and obviously a guy who has got a lot of experience, not just playing at every level, but also kind of being able to break these games down. And we love being able to chat with a legend about this thing, JC, and we appreciate you joining us on the program. And have fun watching this game tonight, a couple hours away from tip-off. Should be a fun one.
Yeah. Again, thanks for having me. Love talking hoops any chance I get, so appreciate the call. And, hey, go Aggies tonight, huh?
There you go.
Go Aggies. Thanks, JC. We'll do it again soon.
We can't wait. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Listen,